Well, right now, a very tense situation in the Middle East that we really need to pay attention to. Israel and Hamas militants in Gaza appear to be on the verge of an all-out war. Air raid sirens are sounding across the Jewish state as militants step up those rocket attacks. That's what you're hearing right now in this video. This is happening even in Jerusalem, which has never been targeted by a Gaza rocket before. Now, here's a look at the region overall. Tel Aviv and the occupied Palestinian territories of the West Bank and Gaza. That's what we're really focusing on. President Obama, has spoken with Israel's prime minister and Egypt's president. So what is the role of the United States here as we watch this play out? Let's bring in our guest today, Major General Bob Scales, a Fox News military analyst, and Mark Dubowitz, executive director of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. That's a big question. General, let's start with you. What is the role of the United States here?
Right now, the role of the U.S. is to be a mediator, Jenna. There's very little that we can do. Certainly, Israel doesn't need our military help, and Hamas wouldn't seek our help either. So what the president's trying to do is act as a mediator between both the Israeli and the Egyptian leadership, trying to emphasize that there's nothing good that can come out of this for any of the three entities, Israel, Gaza, or Egypt, by continuing these rocket attacks or, God forbid, an invasion by Israel into Gaza, Jenna.
Mark, at this time, though, the president is planning to head this weekend to the east, where he's visiting Cambodia and Burma. He may be acting as a mediator, as General Scales said, but this is part of a previously planned trip that talks about the pivot east for this administration. So how do you see it?
Well, Jenna, I actually disagree. I don't think the role of the president is to be a mediator between Israel and Hamas. I think the role of the president is to be a strong supporter of Israel. Israel has been under rocket fire for months from Hamas. They've used missiles of terror. They've now obtained Iranian missiles, which are being used not only to target border communities, but to target the industrial and population heartland of Israel. The strike by Israel just a couple of weeks ago, or about a month ago, on a IRGC weapons factory in Sudan was a strike against an Iranian missile-producing factory. And the fact of the matter is that Hamas has been gearing up with long-range missiles from Iran to target Israel for months. So the
Mark,
U.S. has got to support.
Be specific, though, when you say support. What does that look like?
Well, I think they've got to, the U.S. has got to allow Prime Minister Netanyahu to do what he needs to do, which is he needs to go in there and he needs to clean up these long-range Iranian missiles that threaten Israel, that threaten its population, that threaten its industrial heartland. We would expect our president to support us if terrorists were bombing from Mexico into Dallas or Houston. We wouldn't expect our president to be mediating between terrorists in Mexico and the American population. This is a loyal ally. We need to support it.
General, I'd like your reaction to that for context. When Mark says, you know, this is like a bomb coming from Mexico to Dallas, that's actually an accurate way of looking at it, because Dallas is about the same size as Tel Aviv, and Tel Aviv is taking on rockets on the outskirts. Your thoughts, General?
Well, first of all, obviously, I support Israel in this. I mean, it's Hamas and the Palestinians who are the aggressors here, and clearly the support structure for these rocket attacks is Iran. And it's also important to emphasize that this is an effort by the Israelis to protect their flank, so to speak, should Israel have to strike Iran. So yes, I'm not trying to take sides here. What the question you asked me is, what's the United States going to do? And right now, the best thing that the United States can do is stand back, and hopefully these two sides will have a ceasefire and we can back off. And the last thing Israel wants to do is to have another land.
And I'm sorry, General, it seems, Mark, you want something stronger than that, than standing back. Do we have that right?
You know, we support our allies. We support our allies, General. There's no better friend, no worse enemy. That's the motto of the U.S. Marines. And Israel is a no better friend. They've been under attack by Hamas, by Hezbollah for years, missile attacks in the north, missile attacks in the south. There is no way that we should be mediating. What we should be doing is allowing the Israelis the green light to go in there and clean up these long-range Iranian missile factories and their terrorist perpetrators.
Both of you came back to this point about Iran, and I'd like to end there because during our show over the last hour, we just got another report from the IAEA, which takes a look at nuclear sites around the world and inspects them. We just got word that, according to them, Iran is ready to sharply expand its uranium enrichment in the underground site that we've talked so much about after installing centrifuges, basically saying, listen, they're ready to hit the accelerator towards this nuclear program and develop nuclear weapons. Mark, I know you look a lot into this. So this is happening. We're getting that news while this conflict's playing out as well. How do you see this coming together? Is this just a huge distraction, if you will? I hate to use that term because people are dying, but a distraction away from the focus, which should be Iran?
You know, if you're an Israeli military planner...
General Scales, I'll get your thoughts in a second. Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, if you're an Israeli military planner and you're contemplating a strike against Iran's nuclear facilities, then you've got to go in and clean up Iranian-supported terrorist surrogates like Hamas and Hezbollah, because you know that whenever you do that, those Iranian missiles are going to be landing on your population centers. So in a sense, in a broader context, the Israeli military is trying to go in there and strike a blow at Iranian-backed surrogates in Gaza, because they know that down the road, in maybe months and maybe a year or so, they may be hitting Iran's facilities, and they're going to be facing an onslaught of Iranian missiles falling from Gaza and Lebanon sometime soon.
General, your thoughts on the timing of all of this? Well, first of all, as I said before, the real evil hand at play here is Iran. Iran supports Hezbollah and Hamas, and they're the ones who are trying to cause mischief in the area. And should Israel strike Iran, Iran will strike back not only themselves, but through their surrogates, Hamas and Hezbollah. My only point is that Israel's best military option is to try to clean out these missile sites with air power alone. To do another cast-lead style of operation at this late date wouldn't serve the best interests of Israel. I think that's absolutely solid military advice.
We'll continue to watch this. We know that the tanks are being moved closer to the border, the Israeli tanks. Leland just showed us that during our last hour. So a lot happening, a lot at move around the world. Mark, General Scales, great to have you both today. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.